We are building a future that works perfectly. The only problem? Humans weren't designed to live in it. For decades, we've chased the same dream: faster systems, smarter cities, perfect efficiency, a world where everything works. And now, that world exists. Trains arrive on time. Streets are spotless. Crime is rare. Technology runs quietly in the background. Life feels under control. From the outside, it looks like success. But here's the uncomfortable question no one likes to ask. What if a society can function perfectly, while the people inside it slowly disappear? Because progress doesn't just remove chaos. It removes friction. It removes unpredictability. It removes the very discomfort that once forced humans to connect, to struggle, to feel alive. In this future, nothing is broken. No riots, no collapse, no visible crisis. Just silence. Not peaceful silence, but the kind that fills elevators, trains, apartments, where millions of people coexist without truly touching each other's lives. This isn't a dystopia. There are no villains here, no dramatic downfall. Everything works. And that's what makes it terrifying. Because when systems become flawless, human emotion becomes the weakest link. Loneliness doesn't disappear. It gets managed, optimized, designed around. Connection becomes optional. Isolation becomes efficient. And slowly, quietly, a question begins to surface. Is this the future we actually want? Or just the future we never stop to question? This isn't a story about failure. It's a story about success, taken to its extreme. And one country has already arrived there. Welcome to Japan. At first glance, Japan isn't just a country. It's a preview of our own destination, a world where convenience replaced connection. You step outside and nothing feels out of place. The streets are clean, not kind of clean, spotless. Trains arrive exactly when the screen says they will. Not early, not late. Exactly. You can walk alone at night without checking over your shoulder. You can forget your wallet, and there's a good chance it finds its way back to you. People line up. They wait their turn. They follow the rules even when no one is watching. For most visitors, this feels almost unreal, like stepping into a world where adulthood finally figured things out. And honestly, it's impressive. Japan is safe. Japan is clean. Japan is organized. Japan is efficient. So here's the fun question. If nothing is broken, why does this place feel so heavy? Because in Japan, the system doesn't collapse. It doesn't fight you. It doesn't shout. It simply runs. Smoothly, quietly, relentlessly. And when everything around you functions perfectly, something strange happens. There's no chaos to blame. No disorder to point at. No excuse to hide behind. If you're tired, it's you. If you feel lost, it's you. If you don't quite fit, it's you. Not because anyone tells you that, but because the world around you leaves no room for error. Japan didn't build a harsh society. It built a precise one. And precision is powerful. But it also creates pressure, the quiet kind. The kind that doesn't explode. The kind that doesn't go viral. The kind that makes people smile politely and carry everything inside. Nothing is broken here, and that's exactly what makes Japan so fascinating. Because when a society works this well, you can't help but wonder, where does all the human messiness go? Step onto a train in Japan during rush hour. It's packed, shoulder to shoulder, hundreds of people standing inches apart, and yet almost no one speaks. No loud phone calls, no arguments, no music leaking from headphones, just silence. At first, it feels peaceful, almost polite, like everyone agreed, without saying a word, to give each other space. But after a while, something feels strange, because this isn't empty silence, it's shared silence. People are together but separate, present but not engaging, close but distant. Walk through Tokyo at night and you'll feel it again. A massive city, millions of lives, and a quiet that follows you even in crowded streets. No one interrupts you. No one bothers you. No one invades your space. Sounds nice, right? And sometimes it is. But here's the twist. When no one ever interrupts you, no one ever checks in either. Silence in Japan isn't calm. It's emotional self-control at a national scale. People learn early not to burden others, not to overshare, not to take up too much emotional space. So, feelings get managed, contained, handled quietly. In the West, loneliness is a crisis. In Japan, it's a feature. It's a silence so engineered, you don't even realize you're disappearing. It sits next to you on the train. It walks past you on the sidewalk. It lives in apartments stacked on top of each other, where everyone is independent, and no one interferes. Here's the curious part. Some people find this freeing. Others find it isolating. So, let me ask you honestly, would this silence calm your mind? Or make you feel invisible? Because in Japan, being alone isn't unusual. The question is, when does being alone stop feeling peaceful? At some point, Japan stopped trying to fight loneliness. It did something far more interesting. It adapted. Here, being alone isn't treated like a problem that needs fixing. It's treated like a lifestyle that needs optimizing. Eating alone? Perfectly normal. Entire restaurants are designed for one person. No awkward small talk. No pressure to perform conversation. Just a meal, a counter seat, and your own quiet bubble. Living alone? Efficient. Apartments are compact, precise, almost engineered for a single human. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Entertainment alone? Not strange at all. You can sing karaoke by yourself. Go to the movies alone. Travel alone. No one looks twice. And then there are the symbols. Capsule hotels. Tiny sleeping pods stacked like drawers. Private, clean, temporary. A place to disappear for the night without explanation. Vending machines everywhere. Food. Drinks. Hot meals. No cashier. No interaction. Convenience without conversation. Japan didn't remove loneliness. It optimized around it. Instead of forcing connection, the system asks a different question. How can life keep moving, even when you don't feel like connecting? And for many people, this works. There's freedom in not having to explain yourself. Comfort in not being judged. Relief in knowing you're not doing anything wrong by being alone. But here's the quiet trade-off. When everything is designed so you never have to reach out, you slowly forget how. Loneliness doesn't hurt less. It just becomes easier to live with, easier to manage, easier to schedule, easier to ignore. So let me ask you something honestly. Is this independence? Or is it loneliness? With better design? Because Japan didn't build a society where no one feels alone. It built a society where being alone feels normal. And that might be the most fascinating adaptation of all. In many countries, work is about ambition, climbing higher, earning more, standing out. In Japan, work often means something different. It's about belonging. People don't stay late at the office just because they have more tasks. They stay because leaving early feels uncomfortable. Not wrong, just uncomfortable. Because work here isn't only a contract, it's a relationship. Your coworkers aren't just teammates. They're your social circle. Sometimes you're only one. So, people endure long hours, not to impress the boss, but to avoid being the person who breaks the rhythm. There's even a word for the extreme version of this. Karoshi death from overwork. It sounds shocking, but most of the time, it doesn't look dramatic. No shouting, no breakdowns. Just people quietly pushing themselves past exhaustion. Because stopping feels worse than continuing. In Japan, ambition isn't loud. It's disciplined. Success isn't about chasing personal dreams. It's about not letting the group down. And, in a society that values harmony above all else, being reliable matters more than being exceptional. For some people, this creates deep purpose, structure, a sense of meaning. For others, it creates something heavier. When your identity is tied to contribution, rest starts to feel like failure. And when everyone is enduring together, no one wants to be the first to say, "I can't do this anymore." So here's the honest question. Would you rather work somewhere that pushes you to stand out, or somewhere that quietly asks you to disappear into the system? Because in Japan, work isn't about becoming more, it's about staying connected. And sometimes, that connection comes at a higher cost than anyone admits. In most places, love is loud. You see it in messages, in public gestures, in the need to constantly show that you care. But in Japan, love feels different, quieter, subtler, almost hidden in plain sight. Couples don't hold hands as often. They don't announce their feelings to the world. There are fewer dramatic confessions, fewer big romantic moments. At first, it feels mysterious. Do they love less? Or do they love differently? In Japan, closeness takes time. People observe before they approach. They wait before they commit. They value emotional control more than emotional display. Silence here isn't distance. Sometimes it's trust. But then comes the surprise. In a country this safe, this stable, this predictable, fewer people are dating. Marriage is delayed. Birth rates fall. Entire generations grow up without urgency to pair off. Why? Because when life already feels complete, love no longer feels necessary for survival. You don't need a partner to be safe. You don't need one to be financially stable. You don't even need one to feel socially accepted. Independence works too well, and that creates a strange paradox. The system removes pressure, but it also removes desire. Romance becomes optional. Connection becomes negotiable. Some people find peace in that. Others quietly wonder what they're missing. So here's the question that makes this fascinating. When love stops being urgent, does it become deeper, or does it slowly fade into the background? Because Japan isn't a country without love. It's a country where love doesn't shout to survive. And sometimes, that quiet is beautiful. Other times, it's the biggest mystery of all. When love becomes optional, something else quietly begins to change. The future. In Japan, fewer relationships don't just reshape romance. They reshape time itself. Walk through small towns outside the cities, and you'll notice something unusual. Schools closing, shops shutting down early, entire streets where the average age feels high. Japan isn't just getting older, it's aging faster than almost any country on Earth. And the surprising part? There's no panic, no chaos, no mass protests, no loud alarms, just quiet adaptation. Robots help care for the elderly. Technology fills gaps where people used to be. Efficiency steps in where family once stood. It's impressive and a little unsettling because this raises a question most countries haven't had to face yet. What happens when independence works too well and connection slowly fades out of necessity? In Japan, you don't need a partner to survive. You don't need children to feel secure. You don't need a big family to function. The system has you covered, but systems don't age. People do. And as the population grows older, entire communities begin to feel quieter. Not sad, not broken, just thinner, fewer voices, fewer footsteps, fewer stories being passed forward. Here's the mystery. Japan didn't lose its future overnight. It simply didn't rush to create one. And now, the country stands at a strange crossroads, where everything still works, but fewer people are around to experience it. So the real question isn't about birth rates. It's this: when a society becomes perfectly livable alone, what happens to the idea of growing old together? After love grows quiet, and the future grows older, you might expect something to crack. A protest, a rebellion, a breaking point. But in Japan, that moment rarely arrives. Because this is a country trained not to explode, but to endure. Earthquakes come without warning. Typhoons arrive on schedule. History has taught people here that panic doesn't help. So, instead of reacting loudly, Japan prepares quietly. Emergency drills feel routine. Order feels normal. Calm becomes a reflex. And that calm doesn't disappear when life gets hard. It tightens. People line up even during crises. They wait. They follow instructions. They trust that the system will hold. From the outside, this looks almost unbelievable. From the inside, it feels responsible. But endurance has a hidden side. When you're taught to absorb pressure, you don't release it outward. You carry it inward. Japan doesn't collapse because it's built to bend, to flex, to keep moving even when the weight grows heavier. There's something admirable in that. A quiet strength many societies don't have. And there's something mysterious too. Because when a country never screams, you start to wonder what happens to the feelings that never get voiced. Here's the paradox. Japan is stable precisely because people don't demand immediate relief. They accept discomfort. They prioritize continuity over confrontation. The system survives. The streets stay calm. Life goes on. But endurance isn't the same as ease. And resilience doesn't always mean happiness. So the question lingers soft, but persistent. Is this the safest way to live through uncertainty? Or just the quietest? Because Japan doesn't show us what happens when a society breaks, it shows us something far more intriguing. What happens when it never does? It's tempting to look at Japan and think, this is unique. This could never happen anywhere else. But what if that's the wrong conclusion? What if Japan isn't strange? Just early? Look around the world. Cities are getting quieter. People are spending more time alone. Technology is removing the need for interaction, one feature at a time. You don't need to talk to order food. You don't need to meet to work. You don't even need to leave home to live a full day. Efficiency is spreading. So is isolation. In many ways, other countries are slowly moving in the same direction, just louder about it. Japan simply arrived there first. Not because it failed, but because it succeeded faster. It built systems so reliable that human connection became optional, so stable that urgency disappeared, so safe that struggle lost its role. And here's the surprising part. None of this feels dramatic. There's no collapse, no warning sirens, no moment where everything changes overnight. It happens quietly, gradually, almost politely. One less conversation, one more automated choice, one more day where everything works without anyone asking how you feel. That's why Japan matters. Not as a warning sign in flashing red letters, but as a mirror held slightly ahead of the rest of the world. It shows what happens when comfort wins. When systems protect us perfectly, when life becomes smooth enough that friction feels unnecessary. So the real question isn't, why is Japan like this? It's this. If the same conditions existed where you live, would your society turn out any differently? Because Japan doesn't represent a different kind of humanity. It represents a possible future of our own. And once you see it that way, it's very hard to look away. So after everything we've seen, the quiet streets, the flawless systems, the lives that run without visible chaos, what is Japan, really? From the outside, it looks like proof that humans finally figured things out. A society that works. A place where safety, order, and efficiency are no longer dreams. They're daily reality. And that achievement matters. Japan shows us that chaos isn't inevitable. That cities don't have to be loud to function. That progress doesn't always arrive with fireworks. But it also leaves us with a question that's harder to face. When survival is no longer the goal, what is? When systems protect us perfectly, when comfort becomes standard, when life runs smoothly without demanding much from us, where does meaning come from? Some people find it in calm, in routine, in knowing tomorrow will look like today. Others quietly search for something more. A spark, a reason to struggle, a feeling that reminds them they're alive. Japan doesn't tell us which answer is right. It simply shows us the trade-off. A world without constant fear, but also without urgency. A life without chaos, but sometimes without intensity. And maybe that's the real lesson here. There is no perfect society. only different ways of being human, each with its own cost. Japan doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't try to convince anyone. It just exists, quietly asking a question that stays with you long after the video ends. If your world worked this well, who would you become inside it? Tell me honestly in the comments. No right answers, no pretending, because sometimes the most fascinating places aren't the loudest ones. They're the ones that leave you thinking long after the screen goes dark. Japan teaches us a powerful lesson. A society can be safe, efficient, and perfectly organized, and still leave people questioning their place in it. Progress isn't just about removing problems. It's about knowing what we might lose along the way. The goal isn't to become Japan. The goal is to build a future where systems work and people still feel human inside them. So let me ask you, would you trade your soul for a world that never fails? Because a life without friction is a life that leaves no mark. Subscribe for more stories that don't just show the world, but help us understand it.